Rumiko Takahahsi has a special way of starting her stories. Right from the first scene, she gives you a reason to care. It might be funny, weird, or emotional, usually all three at once. These opening moments are what I'll call her hooks. They're the little tricks she uses to grab your attention right away and make you want to see what happens next. Before I continue, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and hit the notification bell. One of the clearest patterns across her work is how compact the setup usually is. She'll take a normal world, a neighborhood, a school, an apartment building, and insert a single weird idea. That single idea is the engine. It's small and strange enough to describe in one sentence, which makes it sticky. You can tell a friend what the story's about in 5 seconds and they'll get it. Think about how easy these log lines are. An alien girl moves in and causes chaos. A boy turns into a girl whenever he gets splashed with cold water. A lonely boarding house becomes the center of romantic entanglements. The premise itself is the hook. It's a simple mismatch. Normal life plus one disruptive element. That mismatch creates curiosity immediately. You want to see how ordinary routines cope with the extraordinary. Why this works so well? Human attention is lazy in a helpful way. If something can be explained quickly, it's more likely to be remembered and recommended. A simple premise gives you an instant mental picture and a question: how does this play out? Takahashi's success is partly about giving you just enough novelty to make that question unavoidable. Alongside a strong premise is usually one sharply drawn character moment. She doesn't require the reader to absorb a long history or complicated motives up front. Instead, she gives a single memorable trait, a look, an outfit, a physical tie, or a behavior that stamp itself into your mind. Those first impressions are visual and immediate. Lum's tiger stripe bikini and little horns are unforgettable. Rama's tied hair and his permanent scowl become shorthand for all the trouble that follows. Even quieter characters get one clear trait that anchors them: a reserved expression, a cigarette, a certain kind of glance. That one image tells you something about how the character will move through the story. Why this works is people remember images, not dossiers. If you can pin a character down with one clear, repeatable detail, the reader can predict and enjoy how that character reacts in different situations. It makes the character feel present and real without long exposition, and it gives the artist a visual shorthand to play variations on. Takahashi's openings rarely hinge on saving the world. Instead, they focus on things most people have experienced: pride, embarrassment, attraction, jealousy, and argument. Those are stakes you don't need a 20-page backstory to understand. Because the stakes are human scale, the emotional payoff is quick. A character's public humiliation in front of classmates, a misplaced confession, a rivalry that flares up. These incidents carry weight because readers have experienced the same small catastrophes. The humor helps here. The laugh lowers your guard, so the sting lands harder. By making us laugh first, she primes us to care. Why this works: everyday stakes translate across time and culture. You don't need to be a fantasy fan to feel the embarrassment of a bad date or the awkwardness of being misread. Those tiny, relatable disasters create a fast emotional investment, which is perfect for opening pages that want to grab you immediately. Rumiko Takahahsi does two things with repetition. She repeats patterns to create familiarity, and then she tweaks or escalates those patterns to generate payoff. A transformation gag appears in new settings. A rivalry recurs with a new twist. A misunderstanding spins out into bigger trouble. The repetition builds rhythm. The variation keeps it fresh. This approach gives readers something to anticipate, and also something to look forward to. When you recognize the setup, you are already smiling before the punchline, and when the setup is flipped, you get both surprise and satisfaction. Running gags let Takahahsi expand a single comedic or dramatic idea across multiple scenes without it ever feeling stale. Why this works: rhythm equals comfort, and contrast equals surprise. The repeating element becomes a promise. This will happen again but differently. That promise turns small scenes into ongoing payoffs and keeps early hooks from running dry. Individually, these techniques are simple and useful. Together they form a dependable structure, a clear one-sentence premise, one unforgettable character detail, a small human stake, a repeated pattern to build rhythm, and tight, expressive art that telegraphs emotion. That combination is the hook. What's significant is how each piece supports the other. The simpler premise, the strong character impressions, the personal stakes that give you the why should you care right now, the running gags and how they play out across time, the visuals give you the how do you feel it. Each layer is lightweight, but when stacked they become surprisingly robust. You don't need deep familiarity with every title to see these play out. With Lum and Urusei Yatsura, the basic premise, an alien girl moves into a normal guy's life, is easy to state. Lum's look and goofy mix of childishness and genuine feelings are memorable. The stakes are Ataru's embarrassment and jealousy. The running gag is Lum's jealousy and Ataru's lechery, repeating at different comic heights. The art sells every pout and overblown punchline. It's a perfect microcosm of the formula. In Ranma 1/2, the premise, gender-swapping curse, is compact and immediately clarifying. Ranma's distinctive look and the repeated water-based gags provide rhythm. The stakes, standing, romantic, embarrassment, honor, are small but potent. The art exaggerates reactions, so every accidental splash becomes an escalating crisis. Even in a more fantasy-leaning story like Inuyasha, the early chapters ground the story in personal motives: betrayal, love, loyalty. The supernatural stakes exist, but the emotional hooks are usually interpersonal first. That keeps the openings intimate even when the world building gets larger later. There's a practical reason these openings are durable. They promise a constant experience. When you pick up a Takahahsi story, you know what you'll get in tone and structure. You'll get quick setups that don't require encyclopedic knowledge, memorable characters who act in recognizable ways, and a rhythm of jokes and reversals that keeps delivering short-term satisfaction. That predictability can sound critical, but it's actually a kind of exemplified example of writing. Instead of showing off cleverness, Takahashi sets expectations and then finds small, human ways to meet them again and again. The comfort of that structure is part of the pleasure. The audience laughs at the characters and worries for the characters. They feel for them and move on to the next scene, hungry for the next beat. If you write or plan stories, you can borrow this set of moves without copying a single gag. Start with a premise that's easy to say, give one strong visual detail of your main character, keep stakes grounded and immediate, build a repeatable pattern that you can escalate, and make sure your visuals or your pose beats, if you're not drawing, do the emotional shorthand work. The goal is to make the opening do more than explain, make it promise. That promise is what keeps readers turning pages and viewers coming back for the next episode. When you see how compact and adoptable these techniques are, it becomes clear why her hooks work across genres and decades. It's tempting to think that hooks have to be dazzling and clever to succeed. Takahashi shows the opposite, a direct combination of simplicity plus memorability. A single weird idea in a normal setting, combined with a clear character beat and human stakes, gets you further than complex setups or heavy-handed exposition. The simplicity makes the story accessible, the character detail makes it personal, and the repeated patterns make it habit-forming. Leave your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell.